Hello, it's Heather Hoffman, and I'm here to share a set of birthday cards that I made using one of my favorite Unity stamp sets called So Glad You Were Born. It's a great birthday set. One of the most frequent cards that I find I need is birthday cards. So when I find a good simple design like this that works, I like to make a few, and I change up the color just to keep them all a little more unique and keep myself from getting too bored making the same card over and over. So I'm starting for the base of my card. I used a reverse confetti die called Lots of Dots. It's a good basic die, and I'm sort of just stenciling on a banner shape. It's just kind of a way to keep more of a one layer but get a little bit of a focal point for my image to go on. Then I have the little cake image from So Glad You Were Born, and I've already stamped that out with Copic friendly ink. You can use Memento dye ink. I like to use Simon Says Extreme Black ink. It's a nice, good, deep, dark impression, but it's very Copic friendly with your markers. And I've picked a few colors there. I think that was E50 and E31 are the two colors I'm using for the cake there. And I'd like to kind of use a flicking motion and then kind of blend it together. And I decided on these, you can fussy cut out using a white border. I decided to just, when I get to that part, I closely cut around the border. The nice thing with doing this is you don't have to worry so much on the edge about staying inside the line. Then I used a Cool Shadow, I believe is the color, that one, BG10, and colored in the little white parts. Just adding a little dot of blue kind of helps make the white look more white. Then I have a pink that I did for the cheeks and the heart, and a little orange one for the candle tops. And then I've picked my two colors of the markers, R22 and R14, and I picked those to coordinate with the Distress Oxide color for each one that I used for my stenciled banner. This just kind of ties them together. Not quite a monochromatic card, but a little more along those lines so that your image coordinates with the stenciling and just kind of pulls the whole card together really well. So I use that to color my cake plate and also my candles. Blending, I like to choose two shades of the same color. On the candles, I just did one on each one. Of the candles, the darker one on the stripe, and then the lighter one. Now I'm going to speed up a little here as I get into my fussy cutting. It was a little harder to hold it here so you could see it with the camera, what I was doing. Generally, I pull it a little closer to my face so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. And again, like I said before, you certainly don't have to closely fussy cut. You could do much more of a rough, leaving a white border around is a very common look as well, and very often I like that. This time I just decided I liked the no edge border on it. And if you color up some images and you can sit and watch a movie, if you're sitting and waiting in a waiting room, it's just a great time to sit and just slowly fussy cut things out. Good detail scissors make a difference. I really like these little tiny Teflon ones. So now I have my image all cut out. I'm going to use foam adhesive to attach it. I have just some little foam squares that I decided to use to put on there. And a lot of people would just put one or two squares. That is totally fine. I like to put a nice solid base. I like my cards to be able to be mailed and know that they're going to hold together and nice and sturdy and not get bent and smushed up. So I tend to be an overuser of foam adhesive, but don't feel like you have to use that much at all. And then I've picked my sentiment from the same set. And a great way to help things mix together is I use the same color Oxide ink as I did for my stenciling, and oxides are great because they work really smooth for blending, but they also will stamp a nice clean image, which is really great too. And then I just use my paper trimmer to trim it down to a nice thin strip that I'm going to attach underneath. And just to add a little bit of interest, instead of just putting it on square, I'm using my scissors and just cutting a slight angle on. You could trim it into a banner shape or anything like that, but I thought the little pointed side was great. And then a little bit of foam tape as well on that to pop that up off the background, just like the cake. So it's kind of a fun finishing touch that just gives a little dimension to it. And once again, I had to fill in that little tiny hole of the foam adhesive. Again, you don't have to do that much, but I'm a little type A on that, I guess. And then I've chosen a card base that coordinates well with that same Distress Oxide ink color. And I'm just going to mount that flat on there. And you notice as I come into the pictures that I ended up doing 4 of these, all with different color combos. It's a great way to just change up your design and do the work of coming up with a plan, and yet you get several cards for the price of one and the amount of effort. Thanks so much for coming by. Have a great day.